I'm gonna direct my questions back to Mr. Bryce. But before I do that, Chairman Rush, I'd like to ask you if I could get some help, maybe from your staff, because some of your opening remarks in the preparation for this document talked about the impact coal has had on low-income families and communities of color, and I respect that. But I'm also saying this is an observation that when I came here in 2010, there were over 52% of the power plants in America, or the generating plants, came from coal. There were 700 coal-fired power plants. Now we're down to 25%, and we only have just over 200 coal-fired power plants. But what I'm not seeing is any measurable decrease whatsoever in asthma, in lung disease, cardiovascular disease. I'm asking, can someone show me that doing away with coal has actually improved our health for all these communities? Now, one thing that actually has happened, Chairman Rush, has been in West Virginia, you've seen nearly a 70% increase in our utility bills. And we're the second lowest income in this country. So when all of you talk about concern about low-income communities, what about low-income states that you just impacted by doing this? So I'd like to hear from your staff if they can get back to me. But let me go to Mr. Bryce if I could, because I've got a series of math issues that I'm concerned about, and that is one, starting with the weatherization program. I've been very supportive of it, and will continue to work with Peter Welch and others to continue this. But I'm looking at the numbers on that we're spending about $300 million, Mr. Bryce, $300 million in the weatherization program. And we're doing, just a couple of years ago, we were doing 60,000. Last year, we did only 35,000 homes. But let's use that 60,000 homes as a number. 60,000 homes we're fixing. The average savings, according to the Department of Energy, is around $300. So as a result, we're spending $18 million. Now, out of $300 million, I wonder, maybe, is there sense in it? Because if we just wrote them a check, these constituents, a $300 check, wouldn't that be some beneficial? Or maybe what we could do is, Bryce, would you say, what if we gave more families? Because instead of just limiting it to 60,000, what if we went to 10 times that, to 600,000 families? We can afford to do that. Just write them a check for $300, because that's the savings that we're spending. So I'm wondering, or Mr. Bryce, would you say, should we do research into more weatherization so that the savings that we get is more than $300? That we save $1,000 or we save $1,200. Would that be a better use of our money than just doing the simple weatherization we're doing? Because we're only saving $18 million out of $300 million being spent. Or should we switch to energy performance contracts and not have to spend any money? Because energy performance contracts across the country, there's no expense on that. The federal government doesn't have to put on anything. We don't have to put $300,000 out. Individual companies will do that. So I'm just curious, Mr. Bryce, either one of those three: give more families money, increase our research into weatherization, or what about switching performance contracts? What say you on that?
Mr. McKinley, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know those programs, and it would not be my place to comment on them, because I simply don't know those numbers, and I'm not familiar with the program. So appreciate the question.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm jamming you a little bit on it, but I'm saying, Mr. Bryce, is that if we're only saving, if the energy saving is only $18 million, but we're spending $300 million to do that, what if we just wrote them a check? What if we just wrote a check, and then we could save $280 million?
Well, yes, sir, I understand your point, but I think those savings would accrue over many years. And so, I'm in favor of efficiency. I replaced my refrigerator this year, and it uses a third as much electricity as my old refrigerator. So I've seen personally the benefits of efficiency. But as far as the specific programs and the math that you're putting forward, I can't tell you I can't add anything to what you said.
I'm wondering whether or not I'd love to see more efficiency with it. I agree with you on that. But again, $300 million to get 18. What if we gave more people that are hurting, that are struggling out there, the low-income family? Let's help more of them than just 30,000. What if we 60, 100, or 200,000? Let's do something that has an impact, not this program. It needs to be updated significantly. So I thank you, and Mr. Chairman, I do hope to hear back from your staff. Thank you.
I want to